Hi again, folks. So in this brief video, I want to make the point that assessing knowledge-based learning outcomes and skills-based learning outcomes for character education is really not that different than assessing knowledge-based learning outcomes and skills-based learning outcomes for any other kind of education. So this is the easy part. To make that case, I want to start with 4 knowledge-based learning outcomes. You can see them there. Explain 3 theories of humility, identify 4 exemplars of intellectual courage. Both of those are character-oriented learning outcomes. They give students knowledge that is helpful for developing the virtues. And then similar non-virtue related learning outcomes. Students will be able to explain 3 theories of international relations. They'll be able to identify 4 key turning points in the French Revolution. You can see how the verbs match. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which column you draw on. You could assess whether students' ability to explain or identify using any of these strategies and probably others that y'all could generate. Test, quiz, essay, PowerPoint presentation, oral defense, whatever. They could use these strategies to demonstrate that their ability to convey that knowledge. They put it in their heads and they can tell it to you. Similarly, with skills-based learning outcomes, what you want to see is students' ability to demonstrate the skill itself. These verbs don't match up quite as nicely. It was a little harder. Also, I think it's a little bit harder because almost any skill can be interpreted as a virtue-related outcome. But I think I found a couple that are not obviously virtue-related. So on that front, students will be able to manage multiple timelines, but you could kind of argue that that's responsibility, maybe, or design 2 machine learning programs. Students can generate 10 local climate mitigation strategies, which is creativity and hope. You could argue that designing machine learning programs requires a degree of creativity, but in any case, it's more obvious with the generate climate solutions, or you could listen attentively to someone with differing political views for 15 minutes. So that seems pretty clearly in the empathy category. But in any case, it didn't really matter which column you drew from. You could assess any of those using these methods. So a live demonstration, a video recording, a plan of work, a tangible product, and observer feedback. What I want to say here is that this isn't the hard part. We're going to get into the hard part in the next video. But basically, if you know how to assess knowledge or skills outside of character education, you probably know how to assess knowledge and skills within character education. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in a minute.